Welcome to my experiment.
Hello fellow crafters and welcome to episode 27 of the Crochet Cakes podcast. My name is Clarissabeth and I am usually your host for each and every episode that you will find on my channel. Sometimes I co-host with my mom, but not today guys. I'm sorry, not today. This is a podcast about crocheting, some knitting, some sewing, but it's mainly a crochet podcast. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Crochet Cakes. I'm trying to be really active on Ravelry. So far, it's been like 50-50. So if you really want to find out what I'm up to, then follow me on Instagram. And you can always subscribe to the channel to watch each and every video that I put up. So, how have you guys been? Have you guys been okay? Have you had a good past couple of weeks? As you saw in the beginning of this video, I went to Comic-Con last weekend and boy was it amazing. Now, the first time I went to the Puerto Rico Comic-Con was a bit of a letdown. I didn't really enjoy myself and Edison and I were doing a couple cosplay from Metal Gear Solid, but my expectations for this Comic-Con were really low. But I have to say, I had the most amazing time. We spent 6 hours at Comic-Con and I didn't even feel them until I finally sat down and then I was like, okay, I'm tired. So yeah, that was really fun start to the weekend. After that, things kind of went a bit downhill. I'm not going to get too much into that because I have so much stuff to share with you guys. So much amazing things that I don't want to just kind of put a rain on the parade by telling you about the downside of the past week. So the keen-eyed among you may or may not notice that I am surrounded by a gazillion things right now. And you might be wondering, why does it say happy? Why is there a cupcake? Why am I so glamorous? I'm kidding on the last one. And it's because something creeped up on me, guys. Something I was completely not expecting. And it's that tomorrow, which is really today for you guys, is my 1 year Podaversary. Can you guys believe it? It's been 1 year since I uploaded my first video to YouTube. I can't believe it. When I saw it, I blanked out. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna talk about in the next podcast? I think I got more nervous when I realized I'd been a year podcasting than perhaps the first episode I ever put up on the YouTubes. So today is Sunday, June 4th, and tomorrow, which will be today for you guys, is June 5th. And that was the day I uploaded my first ever episode to YouTube. And it was called 5th Time is the Charm because I recorded it 5 times. Unlike this episode, I've only started just recording it, so we'll see how many Clarissa moments I have that will need to be edited out. But for now, we're safe. And to just kind of make this episode a extra special one, you'll have to forgive me if I go over the 30-minute mark that I've been trying to keep because I have a lot to talk to you about. Now, Mom has officially started work right now. The university is not on strike anymore, so she's officially back at work. And because of that, she's back to being super busy. So what I thought I would do to make this episode extra special was that I would show you the first of everything. But before we get into that, I just want to address the elephant in the room. And that combines what I'm wearing and finished objects. And the keen-eyed among you will notice that I am wearing something that I was working on in the previous episode, and that was my quartz top. Let me just kind of get up so you guys can see. Now I made it a lot longer than the pattern indicated. The pattern just left it off here, but I am not brave enough to wear a crop top, so cropped. So what I did was I added all these rows down here. I repeated the lace pattern, and we just kind of turn around for you guys. It's a lot longer in the back than it is in the front, but you can kind of see the back there. I'm just gonna shimmy down a little bit. Don't you just love these awkward showings? And I paired it with my circus skirt, which the blue matches perfectly. Now this circus skirt is store-bought. I got it off of modcloth.com, but you guys know the quartz top is all me. It was designed by Mermaid Cat Designs on Etsy. This is a paid for pattern, and the only adjustment I did was make it longer, which hindsight, I could have done it pretty much from the very beginning that I started crocheting the garment, because it's all crocheted in pieces and then you weave it in together, I guess you could say. So I just wanted to show you the crafting journal entry that I did for this top. The yarn I used is here. It's Frog Tree Peekaboo. It's a discontinued yarn. And I used every bit of the blue yarn for this top. I had a tiny amount left over that I thought was maybe about 5 grams of yarn left over, and I'm saving them just in case I have to crochet something else on the top, in case I break a seam or something, that I can actually reconstruct it, because the yarn is discontinued. I called it my Robin Blues because of a mistake. I was going to write duck egg blue, because that's kind of like the color of the shirt, duck egg. I stamped Robin, and I was like, well, it's stamped, it's official, it kind of just has to go with that name. But yeah, for those of you that are interested, I usually wear a size extra small or small depending on the type of shirt, and I tend to crochet or knit my garments in a smaller size. This I had to go for a medium in order to actually get it to fit over my head. I had done the first half of the shirt, and I realized it just wouldn't wrap around. So I went up a size, I did a size medium. Now, if you're like me, I have a 32-inch kind of bust area, and I'm part of the itty bitty titty committee. So, you know, if you are a bit bigger than that, then I would suggest going for the large size. The pattern does run a bit small, that's what I found out. And I didn't really like this sleeve area, so I decreased, as you can tell. I decreased and made it a bit more snug, just because I wanted it to be comfortable for me. But the instructions were really clear. You get pictures of everything, step-by-step instructions, pictures of everything. I didn't get confused in any way. I love the design that's formed, the little on the sleeves as well as on the collar area and on the back. The other thing I didn't do was, because I find the shirt is high enough on me already, I didn't add a lace repeat at the top, which would have been this, mimicking this area here. But I didn't do that. And yeah, so I used 5 balls of the blue and like half a ball of the brown, maybe. Well, you know, I had the brown, but so in terms of yardage, that would be 116 yards by 5. And I can enter it into the Cow hosted by Alison and Vivian from the Keep Calm and Carry Yarn podcast. Now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, I want to address some finished objects from the vaults. And one of the first things that I ever showed in my podcast was this virus shawl. And this was the first finished object I ever showed on the podcast. And it kind of was the first finished object that really drew me back into full-time crocheting, I think. And this is the virus shawl. Now, for details on this shawl, you can visit my Ravelry page, but it's Plymouth Yarn Company, so it's got some tweed, some alpaca, some rayon. It's cozy, it's comfortable, and it's also way too hot to wear in Puerto Rico right now because it is sweltering, guys, sweltering. And so if you see me looking a bit shiny, I'm sweating. Not that you needed to know that. So this was the first ever finished object. The first work in progress I ever shared with you guys was the fat bottomed bag. This was the first work in progress I ever shared with you guys, and I love it now every bit as much as I did while I was working on it. And now that I see it again, I really kind of feel like making another fat bottomed bag, maybe in some vintage color schemes, some mauves and some pinks, hues, something like that, something completely unlike me. But I called it my Woodland Realm bag because the colors reminded me of the Woodland Realm and the leaves of Lothlorien, which are here. So yeah, this was like the first geeky name I ever gave to a project of mine, and also the first work in progress I ever shared with you guys. Now, the first garment I ever shared with you guys on the podcast was the marigold sweater. And this was shown all the way back in episode 8, I think. If you guys remember it, I made it. It's a pattern by Rebecca Velasquez. You can find it on the Quince & Co website or in Ravelry. I think I purchased it directly from Quince & Co, but you can also find it from Ravelry. And I made it using a cotton linen silk blend for the grey, and the lime green is a cotton linen blend that my mom got for me for Germany. So yeah, I like to think this is when I became a true crocheter. I think out of all my handmade garments, this is the one I've worn the most because I just find it lovely. I love the blend. It's not wool, so I can wear it in Puerto Rico, even though it is DK weight. So it's a bit nice and warm, but to work, it's irreplaceable. So keeping with firsts, the first socks I ever knit were these. And you guys will remember my whole dilemma with the yarn. Well, it never stretched back. This was a cotton, silk and nylon blend, actually. 20% nylon. Yeah, and look at that. Look. Yeah. I use these just to be around the house, but they do get some use. The first socks I ever knit using DK weight yarn and the Bakery Bears tutorials for knit socks. I think they're the Incredibly Easy Socks by Tracy Darby, I think. And the first piece of crochet jewelry I ever showed on the podcast was this collar. I really love this collar. I get a lot of compliments whenever I wear this one or the one Mom made, which was white. I get a lot of compliments. Sorry if the light keeps going in and out, in and out. I think it's going to rain. So you get sun and then rain, sun, rain. But anyway, this was the first garment. The first piece of crochet jewelry I ever made. Now, along those lines of first things I've made and things like that, I wanted to share with you the first indie dyed yarn I ever bought. Coincidentally, it was also the first Harry Potter yarn I ever bought. So if you're being distracted by my fellow Snoop back here, Snoopy is wearing a hat I made with the first ever indie dyed yarn I bought. And this is the Dirigible Plums colorway from Little Bean Love's hand painted yarn, which is of course dyed by Kayleen. Hi Kayleen, you were the first ever indie dyed yarn I bought a year ago. And this is the Dirigible Plums colorway. And I also, when I purchased from her, I bought 2 skeins, because when you're going to try indie dyed yarn, I kind of feel you should go all the way and just not buy just one, you know, kind of like Pringles, you can't eat just one. So I'm going to skip a little bit ahead and share something I've kind of been working on. See, this was Kayleen's old logo. This was her everyday sock base. And just so you know how old it is, it's the first dye lot of Fox Rising. Yeah, this has been in stash for quite a long time. And this is it, all caked up. So it's got beautiful tones of deep reds, oranges, lighter reds, some pale reds and pinks. And it's Fox Rising. Dye lot 1. So you know it's old. And it's in her Kayleen's everyday sock base, which she still carries. The hat is in Kayleen's, can you guys see the hat? Can you guys see the hat? I don't know. Can you? It's her simple DK base, which I love as much now as I did when I first purchased it. Right, so, oh, I'm missing one first. Don't go away yet. This was the first yarn I ever bought from Crafternoon Treats, and it started my love of Catherine's yarn. It's her natural dyed minis. The pack brought a mini of elderberry, the natural, yarn dyed with tea. The other one was, I forgot the names, but you can find them in my show notes for the episode where I showed the pillow. I don't actually remember what episode that was, so you have to excuse me. So all of these firsts would not have been possible without the support I have received from each and every one of you who have either commented, subscribed, liked, shared, introduced yourself on Ravelry, followed me on Instagram, joined the Ravelry group, added me as a friend on Ravelry. None of these firsts would have been possible without you. So just thank you. Thank you so much for all the kind words you always have for me, because I have to be honest with you guys, there were times when I considered not podcasting anymore just because I had a hard time balancing my work, crafting, podcasting, and the research I do with my professor. So I just want to thank you for just being you, because every time I thought maybe I shouldn't keep doing this, just the thought of all the people who have joined me on this journey that started out as an experiment is what really keeps me going still. And just thank you, because whenever I have just not so good week, like last week, I go online and you guys just give me the boost I need to say the world can be a great place. The world can be full of love and full of people who understand you and accept you, not just tolerate you. So in order to thank you for all of this, I will be doing a Podaversary giveaway. Yay! So I'm announcing it now, but bear in mind half the things are yet to be prepared. So I thought I would do a giveaway based on first loves, which kind of coincides very well with the Summer of Romance Cal, which started yesterday, June 3rd. More on that later. So, first loves. Before I ever started crocheting, one of my first loves was baking. So, I'm going to be making a bag for you guys. Not this one. This one's all mine. But I will be making a bag for the giveaway in this green fabric with the cupcakes because I love to bake. I didn't bake for this episode because I was a wee bit lazy and it was really, really hot. So I apologize, I've got no cake to share with you. So I will be using some of this fabric to crochet a bag, to sew up a bag for you guys, and it will be a drawstring bag because I think this was the first square bottom drawstring bag I ever sewed, and I really, really like drawstring bags. I enjoyed zippered ones too, but I also really enjoyed drawstrings. So that will be going into the parcel that I give away. And I will also be giving away a skein of Harry Potter yarn dyed by my favorite Harry Potter dyer, Kayleen. So this is her Padfoot colorway. It's one of her most recent colorways, and it's in her everyday sock. And included in this, what I like to think is an awesome giveaway parcel, are a pair of earrings that my mom crocheted and made with wire as well. So lots of loves going into this first ever giveaway for you guys because I'm sharing my love of jewelry, my love of Harry Potter dyed yarn, my love of Kayleen's yarn, and my love of cupcakes with you guys. Some other things may or may not be finding their way into this giveaway parcel. I haven't decided yet, but just to start you off with a sneak peek of what it will be. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a giveaway thread on Ravelry. Tomorrow, on Monday, I'm going to be opening a giveaway thread, and you will have to answer a question. And that question will be, what is your favorite episode from the podcast, and what is something you will like to see in future podcasts? So just answer those two questions, and of course you have to have subscribed to my channel. You have to join the Ravelry group because that is where you will find all the information on the giveaway. So just search Crochet Cakes Podcast in the groups tab on Ravelry and you will find us and be able to join the really, really, really wonderful community of makers that have been popping up on Ravelry. I love reading about how you started to craft, so feel free to introduce yourselves. Please introduce yourselves, I should say. And I just love seeing what you're up to, so you can check the What Are You Hooked On thread to just share what you've been up to with everybody. And that is a great segue to What Am I Hooked On? As I kind of mentioned previously, the Summer of Romance Cal started yesterday, Saturday, June 3rd. And I've previously mentioned this crochet along that I'm hosting with Claudia from the Crochet Luna podcast, which you should check out. Claudia will be hosting the chatter thread in the Crochet Luna podcast group, which I should really actually find and join because I have so much to chat about and I can't wait to see what everyone is chatting about over there. And So yeah, Claudia is hosting the chapter thread. I will be hosting the finished objects thread. I will be opening up that thread maybe in 2 weeks' time, just to give everybody kind of enough time to start projects or finish them if you've started them. So Claudia and I had discussed that we would be accepting WIPs as long as you were no more than 50% through the WIP. And remember that in the finished objects threads, you should post the information of your couple. So what couple you're representing with either the project or the yarn color or the yarn name, and what you like about that couple. So where your couple comes from, who is your couple, and maybe what you like about that couple, you know, just kind of give it a little good old spin and recommendations. So your couple can come from a movie, literature, a drama, a TV series. We gave you free reign with that, but I chose my couple and I shared it last week, well, on the last podcast. And my couple is living in this bag. And they're not living in this bag. But the project that I chose to represent my couple is living in this bag. As a reminder, little side note, if you've never watched it, any previous episodes, and this is your first one, the couple that I chose is from the book Sticks, which is from the Dark Hunter series by Sherilyn Kenyon. And my couple is Sticks and Bethany, who's his wife. Now, the yarn that I chose is called Styx because Styx is also the name of a river in the underworld. So this is the yarn. It's called Styx. It's a bluish purple with some browns and some green specks. It's really, really pretty. And this was dyed by Petra from Made by Black Elephant. So here's the information. Here's where you can find her. She's a really, really talented indie dyer. I just love her color choices and color palettes, I should say. So this is what I've done so far. And if you can tell, this will be a shawl. But Clarissa, what type of shawl is it going to be? It's going to be a shawl from the, what did I say? The shawl project from the Crochet project, which is the book 3 that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And this shawl is the reason I bought the book. I have to be 100% honest. This shawl was the reason I bought it. So, Fog Break by Cat Golden, in case I didn't actually mention the name of the shawl that I will be representing my couple with. If you've noticed, let me just pop that shawl up for you again. There is a bit of broomstick lace in the shawl. So the broomstick lace section, I shall be using this green. And I'm using, as a pattern suggested, a 5mm H crochet hook. This, I think, is one of my favorite ergonomic crochet hooks in terms of the ergonomic part actually reaching all the way to the top of the hook. And this was made by Hook and Clay, I believe her name was. Mom purchased it. I kind of borrowed it for this project. But yes, so this is where I'm at with the Fog Break. I actually started it last night. And I don't know how much crafty time I'm gonna have this week or the coming week, because the coming week I shall be going to a conference / training in San Juan area, so I'll be there all week. I don't know how much crafty time that will leave me with, but seeing as how that is all that I'm hooked on, it is time to move on to snail knitting. And you guys will have seen this, but there's been significant progress on it. And it's my Hermione second pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks. The pattern is by Erica Luder, who is Dreams in Fiber on Instagram, and she's designed a lot of Harry Potter related socks. But these are the only ones from her that I've tried, and I really like this Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. Now, I would have been further along in the sock if it wasn't for the fact that I noticed that I had made a mistake when dividing for my gusset decreases, and I had to take it all back to the heel flap and heel turn. So that really kind of put me back a day, I'm not gonna lie. And right now I'm finishing my gusset decreases. I left it in the middle of a row, very naughty, but I'm finishing them. And I am knitting these on my trusty dusty Chiagu 9-inch circular needles. I usually start knitting socks on DPNs for the cuff, and then I transfer them to the 9-inch circular knitting needle. And when I get to the section for the heel, then I just switch back to DPNs. I find doing the heel on DPNs much easier. But once I finish the heel turn, and I get to the gusset decreases, then I transfer everything back onto the 9-inch circular. So yeah, did I mention the yarns, Regia, that I'm knitting the socks with? Did I mention that, guys? Well, the yarn is Regia, and it's their Mood series, I guess it's called. So I did knit a little tiny itsy bitsy amount on something else, and it was it's a new cast on. Mom, look away, you're not allowed to see. Mom's birthday is coming up in July, and I thought it would be a really nice thing if I attempted to make for her another pair of socks. So these will be the Mercury socks, which is a pattern that's been going on and on around, making the rounds on the knitting community and also some crocheters as well. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, so just search for Mercury socks and you'll find it. And yes, I've only done like 3 or 4 rows, but I learned a new cast on for it, so that's great. I also learned that I do not enjoy knitting on wooden needles anymore, not for socks at least. Ever since I tried Chiagu, I feel that's the way to go. I just feel that they're super glued. The yarn is like super glued to the wooden needle, and I can't actually knit on it. So it's not as enjoyable, and I'm also being very stubborn about it, and I don't want to switch them to Chiagu because I'm like, no, I'm going to be assertive. If I don't enjoy it, then I'll figure it out whilst I make the sock, even though I already know I don't enjoy it. Does that make much sense? So in terms of crafty crochet knitting goodness, that is it. I haven't sewed in a while, but I do have plans to sew a project bag, as I mentioned, for the giveaway. And I also plan on sewing a dress at some point, but my mind just hasn't been full head on in crafting. So I needed things that I was already working on, which was this, and mindless that I really didn't have to think about it, patterns that were really well explained, socks which I understand constructions of. I didn't particularly feel like learning any new things, minus the German twisted cast on, which I did have to learn for the Mercury socks. So I didn't necessarily take refuge in crafting. I took refuge in retail therapy, which is not good, but that's what I did. So I kind of scared myself with all the yarn purchases I made and all other non-yarny related purchases, which include but are not limited to makeup and artwork. Yeah. So my retail therapy consisted, as I mentioned, of a lot of yarn buying. And one of the first things I bought was this yarn from Catherine. It's her 100% Romney lamb's wool base, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The colors here brought so much joy that I simply had to purchase them. It's beautiful mustards and oranges and yellows and even some kind of greys thrown in there. The colorway is goldfinch, and of course Catherine's yarn is always 100% natural wool. And the colors just made me so happy, and just thinking about what I would make with them made me really happy. So they just had to come home with me, because bit of joy in my life, I guess. And I bought 2 of them because I wasn't sure what I wanted to make. At first I was going to make pillows, but then I was like, oh, I love the colors, I should make a garment. And then I was like, I don't really need such a warm wool garment for Puerto Rico. So yeah, I think I will make a pillow, because that way I can keep it close to myself and not die of a heat stroke. So yeah, this was the first of many acquisitions, sadly. Well, not sadly. I also purchased from Catherine these amazing little sheep progress keepers, which are super cute. If you're wondering, here's Catherine's contact information. Can you guys see it? I'll put all the information, like I always do, in the Ravelry group, where you will find the show notes. So, other things I acquired, was a new to me company, which was called Diabolical Yarns. And I purchased this skein, red, and I can't decide if it says Christmas or autumn, but I love it. And it's in their Tenacious Tencel Sock Yarn, 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel. From Diabolical Yarns, I also purchased these 2 mini skeins. This one is called Donkey Shane, and it's their heels and toes sturdy sock base, 75% washable wool, 25% nylon. Let's hold that up. And I also bought Grayson, just some neutral colors that I thought would go well with most of the indie dyed yarn that I have for socks. And they feel like a really, really sturdy base. She shipped really fast because she does do dyed to order, but these were already dyed that she had in stock. She gifted me a little mini, and this is Haystacks. 92% superwash merino, 8% lurex, because it's got a bit of sparkle in there. So I also, from Diabolical Yarns, bought 2 more Chiagu knitting 9-inch circular knitting needles. As established, the most amazing sock knitting needles. And not only did I purchase from Catherine Diabolical Yarns, I of course purchased something from Kayleen, hasn't arrived yet. And I purchased something from Wool and Vine Yarns. So it's Kristen from Wool and Vine Yarns. I managed to snag her Tea Leaves colorway in the Footsie base. Now she had an update yesterday, which was Saturday, and I also managed to snag some Dirty on Purpose, because Tea Leaves and Dirty on Purpose have to be together and they have to be a garment. And they're both on her Footsie base, so I'm really, really excited about that. They won't be a garment that I start right now, but they will be something that I will start at some point in the future, eventually. So yeah, I'm really quite happy with all the yarn purchases, but my credit card isn't, especially because I also bought lots of makeup, lots of new lipsticks, which are, so my, how do I say this? I have a soft spot for lipsticks and eyeliner. Yeah, that's how you say it. I have a soft spot for lipstick and eyeliner. Non-yarning acquisitions that I have, I want to share something that I bought from Comic-Con because I think it's really gorgeous and amazing. And it is this. This is a graphic art by a Puerto Rican comic book artist. And he wrote a book, and from the book he made a comic. And these are some of the characters that appear in that book. And I just thought they were amazing, and I really wanted to decorate with them at some point. So I bought 3 in total, and he gifted this one to me, which is, well, she is a pregnant woman and kind of like giving birth to, just, I don't know, I found them really interesting and I like them, and I thought I would share them with you because it's a little Comic-Con souvenir. I did put up a picture on Instagram of how I was dressed as. I went as Alice in Wonderland. In terms of crafty goodness, that's really all it now, and there are some things that really cheered me up because the last week has been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. We had quite a big scare with my grandfather. He was at death's door basically, and it was a really, really big scare. He's getting better now, but it was just awful. And added to everything that happened in the UK in the past week that we've heard about, it's just that the world, I feel that the world has changed so much in the past year, and it's not changing for the better, is it? We just don't feel secure anymore. We don't feel safe, we don't feel secure. And that's just horrible, isn't it? We should feel that we're safe enough to walk out and go to a movie theater or go to a concert if we want, or just drive to work without just thinking, am I going to make it home today? It's just very, very awful. So my heart and my feelings and my prayers and my thoughts are all with my friends in the UK and all over the world, for people who just have had tough weeks, tough years, tough months. Just know that I'm thinking positive thoughts for you, and I'm trying to put a bit of happy out there in the world. So I really hope that this podcast brought you some joy this week, because you guys bring me so much joy, and I just wanted to give some back to you, to let you know that you're not alone. People will always be thinking about you, and there are some very, very, very good people in the world. People that inspire us to start podcasts, start new adventures, start new hobbies, start lives somewhere different. People that boost our morale, boost our feelings. So just a big thank you to all of those people, to all of you fellow crafters who made me feel welcome, made me feel like I just have a space here in the little corner of the internet where I am. So just thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And you guys bring me a lot of joy. So I hope that this episode brings you some joy. And let's not end on such a sad note. I do have a bit of bad news in terms of the podcast. I don't think I'll be podcasting again until after June 18th, because as I mentioned, I'll be a whole week in training not this coming week, the next week. So I don't know how much time I actually will have to craft and film and edit a podcast, because this does take a bit of time, doesn't it, guys? Filming and editing. And it's also Father's Day, so I don't think I'll be filming for 3 weeks. You guys may not see another podcast, so that's a bit of sad news. And the other thing I wanted to mention, which is happy news, even though Mom Made May came to an end because we are now officially in June, if you liked the many things I showed that Mom has made for me, and the jewelry, the crochet jewelry, the gemstone jewelry, then Mom recently started up blogging again. She used to have a jewelry blog, and she recently posted more pictures onto it and actually wrote some articles for her blog. So I put the information here. If you want to follow her and find her on the blog, then please do so. And this is where I leave you guys today. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, joining me today. I know there are many podcasts out there and many more that keep popping up. So just thank you for choosing mine. If you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to find out more about me and my crafty life. So just thank you guys for being you and being amazing. Happy crafting! Bye!